Yeah, that looks good. Damn. All right, so they go lower than I expected. I'll be honest with you guys. I'm actually gonna have to run a spacer, which I didn't think I would have to because these wheels did have a little bit of poke, but it's pretty sick. With the front coilover on, I can finally say that the car does go low enough. I'm legit surprised that these coilovers can actually drop this low. I expected them to sit a little bit higher, but it seems like I should be able to run fender to lip or something like right next to fender to lip with this. All that's left to do now is install the other three, which is what I'm gonna do right now. I'm gonna set the camera up, try to just do a bunch of time lapses, that way I can just focus on working and knock it out as fast as possible.
Oh snap! It's really low, dude.
Yeah, the front's really low.
Heck yeah.
Hey, what if I told you? What if I told you the rears are on already too?
Yeah, that's low.
All right.
Like the fronts are perfect. Like the fronts.
The SkuraWeekly set.
Check it out. It's a point and shoot.
No, well the rears have the rears on and they're not low enough. I need some lower for the rear.
Hello. I have a question for you.
Wait a second. How does the rear have the rears if the front's have the rears?
No, because look, so
no.
the only coilovers we have left are the fronts. The fronts. There's no more rear coilovers. That rear is still lifted. That front's still lifted. These are both rears in the front and in the rear.
Oh, why is it so high?
That's what I'm saying. The fronts are bigger. On Miatas, the taller coilover is the front.
Dude, you need to cut the springs, doing things.
We're leaving in 10 minutes. So leaving 20.
I thought I'd get over this, but there's no way I can run these coils. No way.
He's pleading for a call, but nothing doing.
By 10 times I calls a riot. Here's my new album, buy it. Producer MTLP, I supply it. Think of a bag, then multiply it. By 10 times I calls a riot. How do you do that? That's amazing. This real grind music that you're craving. Exit the week and bring the braving. Start creating, stop the hating. I do it like I don't wanna stop. I work hard like I don't wanna flop. In the gutter, I don't wanna rock. Don't wanna judge them, don't wanna mock. Why am I fighting for survival? When I'm this good at what I do, no rivals.
So with these NA Miatas, if you buy a coilover and you actually want to go decently low or somewhat low, you need to make sure that your coilover has this right here. As you can see, the top hat sits lower. I don't know what you would call this setup particularly, but it's the first I've seen of it. I'm sure there's other cars that do it, but it makes the coilover super duper small. And yeah, so this fitment right here is pretty damn close to what I'm looking for. The other side still sits higher because it's on stock suspension. So I want to slam that side and then see if this drops at all, because I'm looking for maybe like a 1/4 inch drop, just about a 1/4 inch more, just on this tire lip right here. That'd be like perfect. So literally a 1/4 inch drop and that would be spot on. Now that we have the rear situated and finally I'm actually decently low on this car, I think it's only right that we throw on the rest of the coilovers. Try to go and take this thing for a spin. First time being low and on tires that don't have flat spots. So yeah, let's get to it. So for this passenger rear coilover, I decided that I'm gonna run droop. Here she is. If you guys ever wondered how small Miata coilovers are, that's the rear coilover. It's absolutely teeny. But I removed both the collars on this one, unlike the other side. I only removed one collar. On this one I removed both the collars. I have about 1/2 inch of droop. This strut should just compress as soon as the slightest amount of weight is put on it. And yeah.
Yep, cool.
fully slammed now. I'm super pumped on how it turned out. It looks really good. The wheels to the fitment flows really well. I'd like the rear to sit a little bit lower, but I'll work on that a little bit later. With the ride height situated, and before I take it out on its first test drive, I do need to roll these fenders. While driving it up this driveway, I ended up buckling the driver's front fender. I feel like with that little nick in the fender, it's gonna be a lot easier to bake in it, but I'll try my best to do it as smoothly as possible. I might try to hammer out that little nick before I take the fender roller to it, but yeah. These rear fenders is to do a very slight pull, crease this rear tab in a little bit. I'm not going to use a heat gun because this car's going to get resprayed regardless. I'm not trying to save this paint or anything. Let's get to it.
Now I thank God for correction. You know, I thank Him for hardship because it showed me exactly where I am, where I was, where I need to
be. Yeah, this interior is filthy right now. I got my car cover and a bunch of 14 parts and then some Miata parts. So definitely not the cleanest interior, but it will suffice for the test drive. I also don't know how I'm gonna make it out of my driveway. This is how the car sits. Damn, it looks really good, but that's what I'm working with. Alright, so the front end's way too low. I'm gonna have to raise it a little bit. Rear end's fine. Broke one of the ramps, which kind of sucks, so I have to order new ones before roofing kills me. But it is what it is. I'm gonna go take this thing for its first test drive. It's probably gonna drive like absolute ass from how low it is, but it's part of the fun. Alright, so I'm definitely rubbing somewhere. I can smell burning rubber, but it's not half bad. It scrapes more than the 14 for sure, but you know, it's part of the fun. Yeah, I'm gonna try to get it home in one piece, which might be harder than I expected, but the rear is at a good height. I'm not really scraping in the rear, and if it scrapes, it's exhaust. I just don't want to bust this oil pan. I have engine raisers or engine spacers. Make the engine sit higher by half an inch. So after that's in, I'll be more confident actually driving it because I know I'm hitting subframe. I just don't want to bust an oil pan or ding an oil pan and then have the pickup to start up the motor. I have oil pressure right in front of me so I can see if I do bust the oil pan, but I just want to take it for a drive. It's been too long. Yeah, it's pretty much where it stands. Front end's gonna get raised, rear end's perfect where it's at. The suspension doesn't feel horrible. I thought it would feel a lot more bouncy and stuff, but I mean, it feels great. It's kind of fun. It's something totally different from the S14, so. Car is currently a mess, but picked up some new goodies. New taillights because mine have some weird warps on them. And I don't know if any of you guys know what that is, but that was too good to pass out.
Yeah. Yeah, kid, you don't stop.